Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. In the series that we are doing of signs in different houses, we have done signs from Aries until Leo so far, discussing how the sign of Aries will operate in different houses, then Taurus, then Gemini and so on. What will be the possibilities that sign throws up by virtue of its characteristics, personalities, and how it adds to the dissemination of the house, and acting in that house, how those signs throw up different probabilities as well. Today is the time that we will discuss the presence of the Virgo sign in different houses by virtue of the ascendant lying in different signs as well. So let's jump right into it, starting from how the Virgo sign will operate in the first house. Now, what does the Virgo sign represent? The Virgo sign represents having the Mercury energy is also intelligence, diligence, the ability to take analytical decision, a person who tries to complete his tasks, his projects on time, and looks at more refinement in their completion also. Somebody who is very logical and has a nature of serving. However, will also depend on a lot of data, a lot of facts, a lot of information to be able to take those decisions. And now when you couple that with the first house dissemination, what does that bring to? It means that the person will come across as somebody who is very intelligent and will have a personality of somebody who is very diligent in their approach to work. Their reputation will also be of somebody who likes to complete their work, is very refined in their approach to different responsibilities that they take, and wants to be able to approach work with a very logical bent of mind. However, this is a person who is a very service oriented person, likes to serve others, likes to be a team player, likes to be a team worker, and hence the approach is towards the success of not only self but also everybody else. So a more selfless person who is service oriented, has a reputation of being very refined in his or her work, very logical, and also one who approaches work with a lot of deep down analysis. Analysis is the buzzword for such a person, and hence all of his approaches towards life in general, towards his or her health, towards how they are seen by society, what kind of stature they have in society, all will come from their reputation of being more refined, being very enthusiastic, but being very logical. And so a very practical person, one who is a no-nonsense person, does not allow emotions to get the better of him or her, and takes time to make his or her decisions. And generally most of their decisions in life, choices in life that they do, is all about how successful they can be, how much they are able to serve, how much they are able to contribute, however how much they are able to complete also, and how much and what kind of refinement they can bring into their work. So overall, the Virgo energies in the first house is about your reputation, about your station in society, how you carry yourself, what your characteristics are all these about the Virgo energies of completion, refinement, being logical, being data oriented, being intellectual in their choices, being intelligent in their choices, and making more intelligent decisions, logical decisions. And the purpose of life is also tied to more logical areas of life, and something which will serve and help in the long run rather than which is bent on emotions or just connections. So a very strong energy in the first house for such a native. Now when the Virgo energies are in the second house, so here the person is about how he or she will be carrying his or her values with diligence. So this person is a person who carries himself with a lot of integrity and will also bring a lot of intelligence to the community or the tribe, and how they relate to the extended community, relate to the extended tribe also, and to their family also. They are very refined in the approach to how they earn their living, very logical, very data oriented. So when they take a decision about which company to work, which job to take up, which will serve them better, which will give them a better livelihood, which will help them to earn better, all this will be based on a power of analysis, power to be able to look deep within, using data to be able to make those decisions. So in every walk of life, especially connected to the second house of family, nourishment, earning a livelihood, where they save their money, whether they put it in the bank or they put it in assets, all of this will be connected to a very refined approach, a very analytical approach, a very intelligent approach, a very practical approach. Same way how they talk also, their language will also be more refined. They may not talk a lot, they may not be very verbose, they will try to stick to the point, they will be very objective, they may not be all over the place. And so a person who will approach life, family, values, principles with intelligence, with practicality, with logical decision making, and all their choices in life, whether through family or through earning or which job to take up, all of this is connected to a very analytical approach, a very refined approach, a very practical approach. Same thing they may even do for what food they like to eat or the choices in life. Each one of them will also be very measured, because this is a measured approach to life itself. So even the food that they take in, sometimes they may also indulge themselves, yet they will be conscious at the back of their mind how many calories I'm taking in, how much I may need to put in to burn those up. So a person overall who's a refinement in their approach to work, refinement in their approach to nourishment, food, refinement in their approach to values, principles, and who likes to carry their family along, carry their job along with practicality, with logic, rather than unbred enthusiasm and emotions. And that is the energy of Virgo in the second house in the horoscope. Now when the Virgo energies lie in the third house in the horoscope, now the third house is about communication, effort, your self-enterprise, your ability to be able to influence others, how you brand yourself, how you market yourself, and this is also about how you are able to do something on your own rather than working for somebody or working under somebody, and also how you will approach these areas by virtue of what sign energy lies in the house. So here when the Virgo energies go into the third house, so here the person's communication will also be very intelligent. The person will think through before he or she communicates. They will also be very measured what to say, what not to say. And in their approach to work, in their approach to communication, they will also be very measured, but they will also be very refined. They will be very logical. When they talk, they will put data across, they will put facts across, they will put early experiences across, they will put earlier connections across, and they will use earlier reference points in their ability to be able to communicate, reach out to people, work with people. So a very analytical approach to communication itself. Same thing with the effort. They will be very measured in how much effort to put in. Not that they are not very hard working, they are very hard working, but they also know where to put in the hard work, where not to put in. And hence such a person will also be very refined in how they communicate. They will also pick and choose what avenues of communication they need to use. Should I send a WhatsApp message across? Should I send a text message across? Should I send an emoji across? Should I make a voice call? So this is the situation. They will also make intelligent choices of what medium to use for communication. So usually in their influencing ability also, these people can be extremely smart salespeople. They will also be very analytical, what to say to whom, how to convince such a person. And in their convincing power, in their influencing power, you will find they use more logic, they will use more data, they will use a very analytical ability, they will use a lot of research and deep down pinpointing those areas which will serve people, and using that they will be able to communicate with people, influence people, and they will be able to sell their ideas, sell their products, but sell their services also. So a person who has great influencing ability will be able to work with a lot of self-enterprise. So if these people set up their business on their own, that decision will not be easy. They will not take a decision in a fit of emotions. If they don't get along with the boss or something wrong goes at work, immediately they'll quit and start something on their own. No, this will be a thought through process, and it will require many situations to go wrong at work before they eventually decide, this is what I want to do, I want to go on my own, and am I ready to do it or not. So any decision they take is also about their readiness, whether they are prepared, whether it is logical, whether it is practical, and whether they should take the step or not. And that's how the Virgo energies work in the third house. Now when the Virgo energies go into the fourth house, here practicality, refinement, logic all comes to the house, all comes to the domestic environment. So here the person will approach all the areas that the fourth house represents, whether it is about domestic life, whether it is about his or her relation with spouse, how they deal with children, how do they buy assets, invest in assets. All of this will be with the Virgo energies, with practicality and with logic. And hence, when such a person will look at his or her domestic life, in their ability to interact with spouse and with children, they will also be very logical in their approach, and so they may try to couple emotions with logic. However, it may not always work, and so sometimes there is also pushback from spouse, pushback even from children, saying that this doesn't work, because logic always, practicality always may not work at home. So sometimes emotions get the better of you. You allow more leeway to the children, you allow a little more leeway to the spouse, you allow a little more flexibility to the situation at home. And so here a person with Virgo energies in the 4th house sometimes is under some stress, what to let go, what not to let go, what to pick up, what to fight for, what not to fight for, because deep down they are all about practicality, they are very analytical, they are able to pick out changes, challenges, issues in the home, others' mistakes that they do at home very easily. They have a very keen eye. However, deep down they also know that it's not always logic which works in a domestic environment. So there is this balancing act that they do, how much they want to complain, how much they want to point fingers, how much they want to pick out problems, how much they want to pick out mistakes. So while they are trying to be very logical, they are trying to be very analytical, they are also trying to be more refined, how they approach the challenges, issues with spouse or in their domestic life, or even with children. There is always this tug of war, how much to allow the emotions to get better of them. However, they may still do okay, they may get along when there is a balance between logic and emotions, and allowing more leeway to the family. However, when it comes to assets, when it comes to buying assets like property or buying a car or making investments in jewelry or getting appliances at home, conveniences at home, these will be extremely logical decisions. They may look at, if they are buying a domestic appliance, how much electricity will be wasted built into the domestic appliances. So all the approach to investments, buying stuff will all be with a lot of logic, analytical and diligent approach, and they will not hesitate to negotiate hard, to be very analytical how they approach buying choices also. So overall, a balanced energy in the 4th house, as long as they allow a little bit of emotions to get the better of them, allow more space rather than being too analytical in the domestic environment, because then they will have a happier environment, they will also have more peace at home. And that is how the Virgo energies work in the 4th house. Now when the Virgo energies get into the 5th house, the 5th house is all about your romance, your education, what you like to do, what you love to do, what appeals to you, what are your interests, your speculative investments, your children and how you bring children, media, public performance, and so on. So here, this Virgo energies of being analytical, being more refined, being more data oriented, being more intelligent in how you make choices, how logical you are, how diligent you are, all of them, both of them come together. So here, when you look at your education, you will approach your education with a lot of intellectual capacity, and hence usually for such people with Virgo in the 5th house, education may not be very tough. They may not stumble so much or fall over so much getting good education as maybe somebody else. And so here they may also be quick in assessing what are their good subjects, what their interests are. They are able to make good choices, logical choices, and what subjects to take up, what to run with, what to let go of. Similarly, they will also be more refined in their approach to romance also. So people who generally will catch their attention will themselves be people who are very sophisticated, very polished, and also those people who are more complete in how they look at life, how logical they are. And these people also prefer more fun-loving people, but at the same time there should be a lot of seriousness also to life's different choices. And they also like to be with somebody who's more stable, because Virgo energies are not about experimenting a lot, sometimes going with this person, sometimes going with that person. If they are with one person, they will like to be with that one person. They will have to have more fun also, but they will also want to have a serious relationship, not a light, easygoing relationship which will not break somebody's heart. if the person tends to move up. So here the person wants to be in a stable relationship, serious relationship, but there should also be a lot of fun and practicality in the approach. They don't hesitate to look at the relationship long term also, if it's making logical sense. But before they jump into a long term relationship with somebody, they will look at it from different angles. Can I live with this person? Does this person's financial approach and mine relate? Do our choices relate? Do our values relate or not? Can we get along with each other? What are our long-term plans? So they will look at various areas before they settle into a relationship. Same thing about their speculative investments also. They look at an investment with a lot of analytical ability. They will go deep down to the brass tacks. How much money is required, how the money will grow over a period of time, what kind of returns I may get into my investment, and so on. And only when they are completely sure that there is less risk, they will go ahead with that investment. They will go ahead with that choice they make with respect to investment. And same way they will also approach how they bring up their children. Firstly, whether to have one child or not, when to have children, what kind of upbringing to give to the children, what kind of values one wants to bring their children up with. All of that is a very intellectual decision for them, thought through decision for them, practical decision for them. They may also give more leeway to children in how they bring up children, what values they inculcate, what choices they allow to the children. But at the same time, if something doesn't make sense to them, it doesn't make practical sense to them, they may not even want to have children in their life. Especially if their relationship is not going very well, they will think twice before bringing children into the world. But if they bring children into the world, they will be a very dedicated parent, they will be a very hands-on parent, they will know more or less almost every aspect of their child, or at least try to, and they will be very involved in the decision making. And there will also be a lot of hand holding, giving a lot of inputs to the child, giving a lot of intelligent choices to the child, so that the child makes good logical decisions as well. And similarly, when their careers or their jobs go through up and down, because the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house, then too they may approach a change in their job, change in the industry that they do. When they take up a new job offered to them, all of this will be with a lot of logical bent of mind, intellectual bent of mind, rather than getting into something without data and making emotional decisions. And sometimes if they are into arts, they will also be into arts with a lot of refinement. They may be very good artists, but there will also be a lot of creativity, yet intellectual capacity and intelligence, how they approach their art, how they come out with their performances. So very sharp performances, very refined performances, artists of the highest order, media people of the highest order, with a lot of intellect and quality going into the performance, is the energy of Virgo sign in the 5th house. The Virgo energy is in the 6th house. This is a natural place of Virgo sign in the 6th house. This is the Kal Purush horoscope of Kundali. So here the person is all about service, competition, ability to handle career and job, ability to work under somebody, ability to be able to handle sicknesses or illnesses with more logic, more practicality, rather than being down in the dumps, getting fearful about sicknesses or illnesses, and how they are able to deal with competition, how they are able to deal with inimical forces which act behind their back. In all of these areas, there is a certain degree of refinement, there is logic, there is practicality, and they will go with a service bent of mind. So such people, whether in their job or when they are serving under somebody, all of this will be with an attempt to be very refined in their work. So when they sit down to work, they may put in long hours of work, and for them every dot, every punctuation mark is very important for them. So when you look at their presentations compared to somebody who is a Sagittarius person, for example, I'm not comparing, but I'm just giving an example of how their minds work. A Virgo person's presentation may be more complete, right down to the dot. They'll think through what colors to use. A Sagittarius person may be more adventurous in how they use colors, but a Virgo person will think down to whom the presentation is being given to, what level of people are sitting in the presentation, what are they looking for in the presentation, how I can give more data, how I can help to make intelligent choices to the people who I'm giving the presentation to. So everything will be thought down right down to the last dot. So the approach to work, to relationship, towards competition, towards competitive situations, all will be with a lot of analytical ability, with a lot of logic, however wanting to serve, wanting to help others also. So very helpful bent of mind, a very serving bent of mind, with a lot of practicality, with a lot of logic, and ability to handle competition also, ability to handle inimical challenges behind the back also, with a lot of refinement rather than making it ugly. And that's why the Virgo energies have been given to the 6th house. If a person is able to best deal with challenges, competition, people working behind the back, it should be somebody who is very logical, who thinks analytically, who thinks intelligently rather than with emotions. And that's why the Virgo energies are slated for the 6th house. So overall, this person will also be able to handle or approach when they take debts, when they want to invest in some property or invest in some venture. They will take up loans or debts with a lot of thought to analysis. What is the rate of interest? How soon I can pay back? Can I pay it back sooner? Can I take loans or debts? Can I take loans from some other? Can I take loans at a lower rate of interest? So only after a lot of diligent planning will they finally get their hands or feet dirty into taking a debts or taking up loans. And similarly, when they take up a career or a job, each one of them will be very thought through decision making. When they sit through competitive exams, also they will work very hard. They may put in long hard hours of work before they feel they deserve. And generally, even when they are able to get some successes, they will want more. They will not be completely happy with their success. There will always be something where they will find there is a shortfall. So overall, extremely complete people in work, very analytical, very practical approach to work, to service, to other people who they work with, is the energy of Virgo sign in the 6th house. The Virgo sign in the 7th house. Now here we are combining the energies of Mercury, Virgo energies, with the Libra sign energies or the 7th house energies. So here practicality is coming to relationships and analytical ability is coming to connections. A more refined approach is coming to teamwork. A more logical approach is coming to business orientation or partnerships or dealing with people. So here a very intelligent, balanced approach to dealing with people, working with people, or even getting into partnership. So somebody who thinks through before they take the final jump. They may be in romance with somebody, they may be even dating somebody, but when it comes to popping the question or saying yes to a proposal, here the decision will be thought through. So sometimes they may be thinking even before the question is popped, if the question is popped, what will I do? Am I ready for this relation? Am I ready for this partnership? Am I ready for this association? So a very thought through approach to relationship, a very balanced approach. Here they will also look at how much I am able to give versus I am able to receive. Is there more balance in the relationship? Am I being served also, or does this relationship serve me also? Does it suit me also? And am I also being true to the relationship? So a very logical, a very practical, a very refined approach to relationship also and partnerships. When a proposal is made to them to get into a partnership, in a team partnership, or to take up a project, or to get into business, again they will think through. They will not jump at the offer. They will think through with data, with various data points, whether the partnership makes sense, whether they want to work with such a person, who will bring in what kind of resources to the table, whether you are able to get along with each other or not, who is more hardworking, who is more diligent, what kind of roles you will play. So a very logical, very data oriented, very complete approach, very balanced approach to partnerships also. And usually such people are very balanced in their expectations also from the partnership, expectations from their married life also. When they get into a relationship, they will keep in mind what to truly expect out of a partnership or a relationship and what not before they get into the relationship. Even after they get into a relationship, they may also have a more flexible approach to relationship also. However, they will not be too flexible, they will not be too easygoing in the relation. For them, balance is very important. To them, a very practical approach to relationship is also important. So love is definitely important, but practicality, balancing each other, helping each other, supporting each other, and also bringing in the moolah, also helping in the relationship with resources, with your contribution is very, very important. So such people, when they get into a relationship, usually they try to keep a very stable relationship, and they will generally put in more than is required also. So sometimes because they are ready to give in more, they are also ready to give in flexibility to keep the relationship intact, but they are also very logical, very practical. They also know when they have given more, and so when the heartbreak happens, if it happens, this is very heart shattering. So people who are very committed, who are very loyal in relationship, who are very refined, who are very balanced in relationship, who have a very practical approach to life, who try to keep the balance between practicality and the romance and the companionship, is the energy of Virgo sign energies in the 7th house. Now the Virgo sign energies in the 8th house. The 8th house is all about upheavals, transformations, obstacles, challenges, other people's monies, virtual things, inheritance. So when the Virgo energies come into the 8th house, the Virgo energies of practicality, logic, being data oriented, being very analytical, being very diligent, very intelligent, very completion oriented, all these comes to the areas of the 8th house. So usually such people will approach obstacles in their life with a lot of analytical ability, with a lot of intellectual capacity to be able to handle challenges, to be able to handle upheavals. And so they are the first people who will also be okay to go through transformation if required, if it is practical, if it's the logical thing to do. So they are ready to change. They are also ready to change and transform their approach to life, their approach to relations, their approach to work and career, as long as it makes practical sense. Even when a challenge happens, they are looking at it more with a more logical bent of mind. Why did this happen at this point of time? Is it my fault? Who caused this challenge to happen? And generally, because they are very prepared, usually sudden challenges don't come to them. When these sudden issues or challenges come to them, then it's only when there may be a challenge on the other end, which these people may not be involved or they may not be responsible for. However, they will approach those challenges also with more calm, more poise, and looking at both the sides of the table. If they are told that you need to leave their job, or if they are told that you need to go through a surgery, if they are told that you need to move cities, if they are told that their project is being changed, whatever situation they suddenly face in life, they will look at it with a lot of practicality, and they will sit down to think first, why did this happen to me? And usually sometimes they try to take the blame on themselves also, though usually that may not be the case. However, they will approach those changes with a lot of logic, with a lot of pragmatism, and they will be able to handle these issues, upheavals, much better than somebody else. For example, much better than a Pisces person in the 8th house who may become more emotional. And usually such people may get into banking or finance or wealth management or something to do with accounts or something to do with insurances or government, because all of these areas require a very practical, very logical, very data oriented approach. These people are also very research oriented. So if they are into any field of life or industry where a lot of research is required, these are some of the best people to be able to do it. They will be able to put in long hard hours to be able to get down to the bottom of things. And so these people are very good to do audits also, and also to look up at data, to be able to use data, to refine data, to make slices of data, to come out with inferences. And so sometimes these people are so logical, they'll try to make logic out of a science fiction movie also, or a paranormal movie also, or a movie made on magic. So these people may also be able to crack the mystery in movies much better or much faster than the others. They may also be able to look through the emotions or emotional upheavals that a situation is throwing at them, and be able to handle the issues of the 8th house much better than any other sign energy. So a very refined, a very practical, a very logical approach to upheavals, to challenges, to obstacles, to issues, and to other people's money, to inheritance, and to all those things which are mysterious, mystical, and to have a very deep orientation and approach to those things, is the energy of Virgo sign in the 8th house for you. Now when the Virgo sign energies go into the 9th house, the 9th house is all about your higher learning or higher qualification, your teachers, your gurus, long distance travel, learning through life's different experiences, dealing with different cultures, very higher house of gains or the best gains, and your belief and your faith system also. So here the Virgo sign energies is all about making intelligent choices in all these areas. So when a person wants to go for higher qualification or wants to go for higher learning or higher degrees, such a person may think through a lot before making their final choices. So they will also be very diligent in their higher learning. So these people will put in the long hard hours to be able to get the higher degrees, the higher qualifications, and generally it will be thought through. They will try to relate that higher degree to their job, to the future. And usually these people may not let go of their studies or higher learning or higher qualification in midstream. If they take up a qualification that they want to complete, generally they will ensure they will end up, and they may do it much better than the others. Their work also will be more complete than the others. Their approach to studies will also be very structured. And usually those people who may trouble the gurus most, ask questions the most, but at the end satisfy their gurus, the teachers the most, will be these people with Virgo sign energies in the 9th house. When they have to take up an offer long distance, when they have to travel long distance, maybe for work or for career, that will also be thought through. Not just educational degrees in foreign lands will be thought through, but even long distance travel to take up jobs in other countries will also be thought through. About the investment they are making, whether it is practical to do their degree within in their motherland or to go to foreign lands and to do this, whether they are adept at language, what will be the weather conditions. They will look at different angles before they take their decision. Usually these people are also very good at dealing with people from different cultures, and they get along well with people of different cultures also, because they take the trouble of understanding them. They will take the trouble of understanding the culture, the language, the background, the political scene, the economical scene. And so these people settle the fastest in foreign lands or working with foreign clients. Though they may not make friendships like house on fire, they may take their own time. But people from different cultures also may find these people easiest to deal with, because these people come across as most logical, most practical. And generally when life teaches them through the higher learning, through the different experiences life, through the different situations in life, these people also look at life situations or challenges with a lot of practicality. And the experiences which teach them, they imbibe them with a lot of care and logic, and being able to understand why they face certain situations and what is the higher experience for them, what is the higher learning for them. And usually these people will not repeat the same mistake. They will not allow the emotions to get the better of them even when tough situations are thrown at them. And a very refined approach, a very logical and less emotional approach to dealing with other people, to education, to doing foreign degrees, to traveling to foreign lands and working with different people, is the ability of those people who have the Virgo sign energies in the 9th house. Now when the Virgo sign energies go into the 10th house, the 10th house is all about career, your reputation at work, your authority at work, your approach with higher ups, what is the approach to work, what are the expectations of higher ups from you, and what do you bring to the table by virtue of your work culture. So here, when you bring the Virgo energies, such a person will be very, very analytical in his or her work, but they will also have a reputation of being most complete at their work. The managers and supervisors may find them to be very refined and very practical in how they apply to work long hours, submit their work also. So the supervisors may like the presentations or the Excel sheets or the data of the Virgo sign people in the 10th house most or better than the others, because these people will also be able to present their information, present their data, may be able to complete their project work with a lot of intelligence, and somewhere they feel they have a gut feeling to what the managers or supervisors actually need. And so they'll be very refined in their approach also. Their presentations will have all the areas that the supervisor or the manager is actually looking at, and most of this will be about data, about facts, rather than issues or problems or emotions guiding them. If they present data or fact, they will also present solutions. So having a reputation of being most complete, very logical, but very, very practical, extremely loyal, extremely dedicated, is this energy of the Virgo sign in the 10th house. And usually these people will also not take disciplinary efforts of managers or supervisors too much to task or too much to heart or take too much emotionally. They will think through, okay, my boss said few things, maybe he said it out of his emotions or his challenges, however it makes sense to me, I should be more prepared at work. So many times they take it upon themselves, even when sometimes it may not be their mistake, it may be the mistake of the team, it may be the mistake of the department, or it may be somebody else's challenge which has put them into a soup where they have to face the music. However, people who are able to deal with transformation, challenges, issues at work best, yet being able to work closely with higher ups with a lot of practical approach and with a no-nonsense approach, and some of the best people to have to get the project work completed, to the expectations of the client, and maybe much more, is the energy of the Virgo sign in the 10th house. An extremely dedicated person, a loyal person, practical person, a refined person, the best person to have on your team is the energy of the Virgo sign in the 10th house for you. Now, when the Virgo sign energies go into the 11th house, what is the 11th house? The 11th house is all about your social connections, your social network, the larger society, what are your social responsibilities, and trying to work for some causes, working with large organizations. It is also the house of your wishes and desires. What is your status in large organizations or in society at large? How society sees you, how societal network connections sees you, how societal network connections see you. So yeah, with the Virgo sign energies, the approach to friends, to social responsibilities, to your social network is also with a lot of logic, with a lot of practicality, with a lot of refinement, with a lot of balance, and with a lot of intellectual fervor. So a person with Virgo sign energies in the 11th house will look at their social connections or their friends connections with a lot of practicality. If they feel that a certain friend, a certain network, a certain group doesn't make sense for them to be a part of, then with a lot of tact they will move slowly away from that group, they may move slowly away from that friend. But if really trouble, they may not hesitate to be even a little curt to tell people that this is not working, let's part our ways. Or maybe cut their friend off completely, even from their friend circle or from their social network. So a very practical, a very analytical approach to who they want to be friends with, which friendship works for them, which group works for them, which social connection works for them, are the people with the Virgo sign energies in the 11th house. However, these are some of the most conscientious people to their social responsibilities. And when they look at society at large with the challenges, they will not have a very emotional approach. They will have a practical approach. They will have a balanced approach. They will not say close down all the petrol pumps from tomorrow, finish off all non-renewable resources from tomorrow. They may look at it more practically. They may say, okay, we need to have non-renewable resources maybe for now. However, we need to get to a situation where we can do away with these. But we need to have a very structured, practical plan to be able to do that. So even in the tough situations, they will work out practical plans how to approach challenges and issues and how they contribute to social causes also. And so when they get connected to social causes, they will do it with where they can fit in best. If they know they can fit in best with the social cause, then only they will approach it, or they will find a social cause which appeals to them more. Same thing is how or what they wish and desire for. So their wishes and desires will also be with a lot of practicality rather than being driven with emotion. So if they want to get into a certain relationship with somebody who they like a lot, but they will think through whether this person makes sense to me, whether the social group makes sense to me, whether our values get along, whether our choices get along, how we make our choices get along. So only thinking through all of this will they get into a relationship. Same thing with buying, same thing with wishing for a car. Even if they like a supercar, sports car, they will think through, can I afford the bill, can I maintain this car, rather than being an emotional fit when they go and buy the car. So very, very thought through in their social responsibilities, in their social connections, in their social choices, in what social causes they get connected to, is about the Virgo sign energies in the 11th house. When they work in large organizations, when they work for large brands also, they will look at how much the large brand is able to help them and what they are able to contribute, rather than one-way street. So where I can fit in, how I will fit in, how I can contribute to the department, how I can grow through the ladder, what works, what doesn't work, what is practical, what is not practical, all of this is thought through. And that's why a Virgo sign energy in the 11th house also has a slow but steady and stable growth even in the large organization. Usually these people may not make to the top of the ladder, which a Leo or a Mars energy person may be able to get there much faster. However, these people will be the most intelligent people. These will be the most strategic people. These people will be the ones who are the most cooperative, yet most competent in the roles where they eventually reach. So one of the best energies to have in the 11th house, where a lot of practicality to society, to social connections, to social causes, to working in large organizations, and even the choices that you make in your wishes and desires with a lot of refinement, logic, and your analytical ability and your approach with a lot of diligence is the energy of the Virgo sign energies in the 11th house. Now when the Virgo sign energies go into the 12th house, Mercury, as we know, gets debilitated in the 12th house because Mercury gets debilitated in the Pisces sign. So when the Virgo sign energies go into the 12th house, this is not an easy approach to the 12th house areas for a Virgo sign person. One, because the 12th house is more about spirituality. It is also about the higher meaning of life, the spiritual approach to life, the purpose of life. So yeah, a Virgo person, when they are trying to look at more logical reasons why they are born, more practical reasons to the purpose of life rather than the higher spiritual means. So sometimes there are many questions in their mind. Why am I here? What am I doing? What should I do? Why am I not able to get this? Why am I not able to? What does spirituality mean? How do I elevate my soul? What does soul mean? So there are many questions and less answers that they get. Why they are not completely satisfied is because illogical answers, impractical answers, emotional answers don't appeal to them. They want a very analytical approach to spirituality, higher meaning of life. So there is always this search for meaning of life, search for meaning of spirituality, search for meaning of the 12th house energies. So even when they dream, which the 12th house represents, they may try to make logic of the dream. Why did I dream this? What is the meaning of this dream? They may ask somebody who they can trust also, what is the meaning of this dream? I saw this dream last night. They will try to make some logical reasons also of the dreams. However, when they approach matters of the 12th house, like giving donations, to giving charity, to helping others, these are people who are some of the most unreserved people. They will go all out to help others. When they want to help others, they will find logical reasons, practical reasons why they should help others. Usually more tight-fisted in how they spend money, but sometimes when they spend money, they can really loosen the strings of the purse, only to think, why did I splurge so much? So they may splurge, yet try to make logical reasons of their spending, and yet also sometimes be more analytical of themselves, more complaining of themselves. Why did I do this, or what was the need for me to do this? Very planned, very logical. Even when they try to go to foreign lands, if going to foreign lands to work makes sense, only then will they take that decision. Which foreign country to go to, where the industry that they have an expertise in will be more suitable, where they will get the better fruits of their labor, where they have more connections, where they can be more successful. All of this will be a very analytical, diligent, practical approach to even going and working with others, or working with foreign clients, or working in multinational corporations. So the clients will find these people more easiest to work with because they are very analytical, they are very data oriented, they bring a lot of intellect to the table, and they'll be more complete in their work. So overall, a person who may grapple with questions of spirituality and higher meaning of life, yet one of the best people to contribute, to do more for others, being able to work long hours, hard hours, and make most practical decisions when connected to foreign clients, when working in foreign lands, when working with MNCs. And one of the best contributors and who have a strong legacy of charity and donation and helping others is the energy of the Virgo sign energies in the 12th house for you. So friends, now that we have discussed how the Virgo sign energies get into the 12 houses, check in which house is your Virgo sign energies. Look at where your Mercury is placed, what planets are placed in that particular house in the Virgo sign, what are the aspects on it, are there any yogas or dosas associated with it, because those will add flavors to the Virgo sign energy in that particular house of yours, and basis that you will be able to get the best results of the Virgo sign energies in that particular house. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Till some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.